You know, one thing I think that we can all agree on is that there has been a lot going on since Trump took office. So, right from the start, Trump shattered the record for executive orders signed on day one set by Joe Biden previously with 9 in 2021, with a total of 26. These include executive orders like Unleashing American Energy, which got rid of the EV mandate and vowed to make domestic mining and oil production easier by reviewing all the so-called burdensome regulations while they encourage energy exploration on federal lands and waters, among other things. He declared the U.S. withdrawal from the World Health Organization, citing the organization's mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as whining about what they call unfair onerous payments. One is simply titled Hiring Freeze, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. As of January 20th, all civilian position federal jobs that weren't filled were to remain that way until further notice, excluding the military and immigration enforcement, of course. And then there's the ultra-petty initial rescissions of harmful executive orders and actions, which got rid of 78 Biden policies, including anything they deemed to be DEI-related, as well as public health, climate change, immigration, criminal justice reform, education, and voting rights policies. But this video isn't about executive orders, and I don't have the time to go over the other 100 plus anyway. The point here is that since literally day one, Trump has been employing the strategy known as flooding the zone, popularized by this guy.
Fight, fight, fight!
Former 2017 Trump advisor and chief strategist Steve Bannon.
I strongly believe in the flood the zone theory, which is just overwhelm the opposition. You pick all the different verticals you're going to, and you just drop the hammer. It's executive orders, executive action.
This strategy is being employed on behalf of Project 2025, a conservative plan authored and promoted by the Heritage Foundation along with Russell Vought, Trump's Office of Management and Budget Director for both terms. Vought describes himself as a Christian nationalist and is the founder of the Center for Renewing America, an organization focused on combating critical race theory, according to them. This is the same guy that you may or may not remember from this leaked video from a private fundraiser in 2023.
We want the bureaucrats to be traumatically affected. We want, when they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work. Because they are increasingly viewed as the villains. We want their funding to be shut down so that the EPA can't do all of the rules against our energy industry because they have no bandwidth financially to do so. We want to put them in trauma.
Now, as it turns out, there's actually a lot more candid footage of this guy to see thanks to the undercover work of the UK-based Center for Climate Reporting. In the Democracy Now! Video published August 16, 2024, we hear Vought lay out his Project 2025 plans to some people he believes to be wealthy conservative donors.
80% of my time is working on the plans of what's necessary to take control of these bureaucracies. And we are working doggedly on that, whether it's destroying their agency's notion of independence, they're independent from the president. I'm very happy with the JD pick. I think it's transformative for sure. Yeah. And he's, think of him as a member version of what we do.
Yeah.
So there's no think tank, no policy organization, no battle plan creator other than us for the worldview that I think Donald Trump has and that JD has.
He even addresses Trump dismissing remarks to the media, saying,
You know, and she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do.
But Vought tells us that behind the scenes, things are much friendlier.
So they haven't been spooked on you as a person, you don't think?
No, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be their transition pick because then they have all these kinds of stories.
Yeah.
But no, the relationship is great.
Project 2025 was created first and foremost as a plan to consolidate executive power and advance the agenda of the extreme right-wing Christian nationalist movement. We're only 4 months into this term and already seeing the lengths the Trump's administration is willing to go to uphold their agenda, oftentimes whether it's legal or not. Trump appointed one of his top donors and richest douche in the world, Elon Musk, to a made-up and non-congressionally approved department that's been causing an insane amount of chaos since they showed up. Mass unjustified firings, shutting down entire government departments, lying about their supposed savings and cuts, and generally just breaking systems they don't understand or know how to use. While all this is happening, Trump has been furthering his own personal agenda of tariffs, and more importantly, violating people's civil rights in utterly fucking reprehensible ways. And don't get me wrong, the tariff situation is important as well. It's pretty plain to see the clear cases of insider trading happening in real time. At the same time, this trade war nonsense is giving companies free rein to raise prices on their goods, whether it's warranted or not. But as I said, the most concerning thing here is the absolute disregard for the courts and the right of due process.
A federal judge has just ruled, as I understand, that the Trump administration cannot deport non-citizens to countries that are other than their place of origin without due process.
During his campaign, Trump made it clear that he was going to start mass deportation. ICE was given a quota to increase the amount of people detained from a few hundred a day to between 12 to 1,500 people a day. His main excuse for this is unwarranted hysteria about illegal immigration and crime.
Do we care about people or not? Because a handful of apartment buildings being taken over by gang members is a big problem.
Leading him to reclassifying Latin American gangs and cartels as terrorist organizations. Since then, thousands of immigrants have been detained without due process, many of whom have the proper documentation to be here in the first place. Unfortunately, without any sort of due process, we have no way of knowing if anyone the government is claiming to be violent gang members actually are. In fact, according to reporting from Axios, most of the detainees sent to CCOT, aka the Terrorism Confinement Center in El Salvador, have no criminal record whatsoever. Not that it should matter if they do or not. When the government can declare somebody guilty and immediately carry out a sentence with no evidence, or even proof of wrongdoing, we do not live in a free society. As further evidence of this, all you have to do is take a look at the people being disappeared for exercising their First Amendment right of free speech. Just to be clear, yes, immigrants do have the same rights as citizens to due process, whether they came here legally or not. But let's just focus on those who are here with proper documentation for now. Take, for example, Mahmoud Khalil, a legal permanent resident and Columbia University grad student detained by plainclothed ICE agents who said his student visa was revoked. His 8-month pregnant wife, who was there as Mahmoud was being dragged away into an unmarked car, tried to give them documentation of his green card status, but they said that too was being revoked. So what was their reasoning for this? Well, according to the DHS, he is accused of activities aligned to Hamas. The truth is, he was an outspoken activist at the peaceful pro-Palestinian protests which took place last year, as well as being a student negotiator for Columbia.
I had seen so many statements online about how Jews weren't safe, about how Columbia had turned into a hotbed of anti-Semitism. Each of those statements further galvanized me to use my voice and my privilege as a Jewish person to come here and have a Seder with all of these lovely people.
I'm part of a really proud legacy of progressive Jewish activists who have participated in things like the civil rights movement or the of race, class, ethnicity, religion, and that's what's happening here today. And there's a lot of joy here, I think really for the first time on campus in months.
In another current high-profile case of injustice, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was arrested by ICE in Baltimore, Maryland on March 12th, accusing him of being a member of MS-13.
You're talking about Abrego Garcia, is that the one? Yeah. Is an illegal alien MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist. This comes out of the State Department and very legitimate sources. I mean, I assume I'm just giving you what they handed to me. But
He is not a gang member and has not been convicted of crimes ever. In fact, they had no right to detain or deport him in the first place based upon his withholding from removal status, meaning he was allowed to reside in the US because of the likelihood he would face violence at the hands of gangs in El Salvador, the very place he was sent to.
2019 was granted relief by the court from deportation. Nonetheless, he was shipped to El Salvador for allegedly being a member of the notorious MS-13 gang. Even administration lawyers admit the evidence is slim and his deportation was a mistake.
On March 15th, he was sent to CCOT, even with ICE being aware of his withholding from removal status. Their excuse? Administrative error. On April 4th, a judge ordered his return by midnight, April 7th. On April 10th, the Supreme Court handed down a unanimous decision that said the Trump admin must take steps to facilitate his release and return. Since then, it's been nothing but excuses and blatant lies about this man's character from the Trump admin, who are now flagrantly violating orders from the highest court in this country.
But do we get any sense that the White House is even going to comply?
I haven't had any sense of that at all. I mean, you could just hear by the language coming out of the White House today, right?
Yeah.
So
and yesterday with the President Trump and the President of El Salvador,
right.
Neither one of them said that they're going to send him back.
These are just a very small sample of the cases of Trump's administration doing whatever the hell they want, regardless of the moral or legal implications. Now, Trump is openly talking about sending American citizens to El Salvador.
President Trump says he, quote, would love to deport what he calls homegrown criminals to El Salvador. That means Americans, people born in the United States.
We are looking into it and we want to do it. I would love to do that.
Thank you for watching. I hope this video was informative to all who understandably haven't been able to keep up with everything going on in real time. Remember, the time to take a stand is now. Remind the powers that be, we are one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.